Welcome to the Art of Book Shopping. In this webinar, we will overview what book shopping is, why it's important, best practices tested by our teachers at Success Academy, and how you can set your classroom library up to prepare students for success. To start, we want you to think about how you like to shop for books. Consider these questions. How do you pick out books for yourself? What draws you to them? How could this apply to your students? Keep these questions in the back of your mind as we continue through this webinar. What are some goals you should have for book shopping? Kids should be able to find books that they really want to read, that are driven by an authentic motivation to learn more about a topic. As a teacher, your role is a classroom librarian. That includes introducing and directing kids to books that they might not notice on their own. Your role is also to help make connections back to other content areas, which helps to foster a genuine love of learning and makes learning cross-disciplinary.
As you set up your classroom library, consider what the experience will look like for students to meaningfully book shop. As you place bookcases and unpack your books to organize into book bins, do so with a vision of your students book shopping every week. This might sound obvious, but take time to read the books that you include in your library. It's important for you as the teacher to know exactly what is going on in the stories in your classroom libraries. What should my classroom library look like? It should be clean, beautiful, and organized, flush with plenty of books, filled with bins that are organized both by level and area of interest. For example, one bin can be all fiction A and B level books that are all about animals. Provide a wide variety of ways to access books. Consider adding a listening library. This can include apps to access Audible content. Also consider adding headphones next to a comfy couch area. The physical experience of the library has a lot to do with how easily kids can select the right books. A library that is organized and clean with lots of options makes for a better shopping experience. Again, consider your own experience at a bookstore. What are some strategies you can use to make your classroom library functional and accessible? Invest time in teaching students how to use book bin labels to book shop, so they can build their independence as the year goes on. Use level stickers to help kids and parents know their book level, so they can shop accordingly. This also helps track their growth over the course of a year and ensures kids are selecting books that match their interests and skills. Utilize bin labels to get kids excited about the library. These are a tool to help students navigate what's available. Create labels that make sense to kids. For example, community places won't make sense to an early kindergartner. Instead, use a familiar phrase like places we go.
Some other themes that can help make book shopping a very successful experience for your students are to focus on the engagement, excitement, and ownership piece. Again, you want your students to develop their autonomy so that you don't even have to tell them where to go for them to choose a book that they love. Make sure to spend time in your classroom library with students, modeling what book shopping looks like and how they can find something that they love to read. Refer back to book conversations that you've had with students, whether these are whole class novels or individual group setting novels. Make sure to make those connections between what one student's reading to what you've read as a class. Think creatively and purposefully about what your students might like to read. For example, if you've noticed that your students love to learn about coral reefs and were very interested in that topic, make sure to stock your library with books all about coral reefs. Again, make sure to make connections between and among books, ensuring that everything in your classroom is part of a learning ecosystem. Keep trying if your student doesn't seem too excited about a topic. Don't get discouraged if the first book that they choose or that you offer them isn't really what they want to read about. Just keep trying and offering them different options, and this will help them grow their love of learning to read. Finally, make sure to bring other students into the book conversations. Make sure to make these cross connections between students in your classroom. You could say, for example, I noticed that you're reading a book about amusement parks. Turns out that your friend over here is reading a book about roller coasters. I wonder if you two can have a conversation about what you're learning. This leads us to our next idea, which is student book talks. Student book talks are even better than teacher book talks. Why? Because they come from a friend. We know that a teacher's book talk can be incredibly powerful, but your students' conversations about what they're reading are critical both for building a passion for literature and pushing your students to think deeply about what they've read. Student book talks can take place during partner time, before book shopping, in a group of students that are in the same level band, or between older and younger students. Pair up a 5th grader with a kindergartner. This can be a great opportunity for an older student to share about a book that they loved when they were younger. Book shopping is a crucial way to encourage a love of reading in your students. Your library should be clean, organized, and filled with books organized by topic, theme, and subgenre. Make sure to offer different ways to browse, including audiobooks, and ensure that your students have enough time in their week to browse, access, and enjoy the books that they're reading. We encourage you to try these tips out in your classroom. Let us know how it goes below. Happy reading!